For speed seekers, there's no better place in Western Canada than Edmonton, Alberta's Labatt Raceway. At this track, speed's the name of the game. And this season has been no exception. New track record set in 2 classes. At the NHRA Canadian Open, Roger Bateman of Calgary reset a 3-year-old top alcohol funny car track record running in the 580s at over 230 miles per hour. Weeks later at the Harley-Davidson of Edmonton all-bike drags, Ron Howney from Haney, British Columbia runs in the 690s at 196 miles an hour to enter his name to the Labatt Raceway record book. It's been an incredible season of speed and new records for Edmonton, but a memorable season too. The sounds of a 6,000 horsepower nitro funny car, brand new, Edmonton-based, filled the air at the track. From Sherwood Park, the Castrol GTX team of Jason Duchesne and Shaw Motorsports was there for its first ever checkout pass. Tonight, we're hoping for a record-setting broadcast as one barrier at Labatt Raceway has yet to be broken, 300 miles per hour. The Jet Dragsters are here, and so are we. Get ready, race fans. Shaw Motorsports brings you Autotrans Championship Drag Racing and exclusive coverage of Snap-on Tools hot August night. And welcome back, race fans. Exclusive coverage of Autotrans Championship Drag Racing here on Shaw Motorsports and the 1999 Snap-on Tools hot August night. Cars are lined up behind me. They are in the time trial mode of our evening here. We won't be covering the time trials, covering just the racing here tonight, and it gives us an opportunity to talk to some of the drivers in the pit area. And co-hosting with me tonight is Stan Ankers, and Stan Ankers in the pit area right now with one of the feature drivers all the way up from Billings, Montana. It's Chuck Haynes. Stan?
Thank you very much, Gord. I'm here with Chuck Haynes in the pits. Chuck, your car here, it's a Jet Dragster, capable of over 300 miles an hour. Would you tell us a few things about it?
Well, thanks a lot, and Gordy, and it's all great to be back here at Edmonton and the Labatt Dragway, and we're really happy to be here for the Snap-on Night of Fire. And actually, the car is a Jet Dragster, and it's propelled by a Pratt & Whitney J60 engine. Now, that engine was used in Saberliners, Jetstar, small private type jets. It puts out about 13,000 horsepower, has about 6,000 pounds of thrust, and is capable of speeds of over 300 miles an hour.
Great. And now, Chuck, I know you've been in the business quite a long time. Can you please tell the people out there how long you've been in the business?
Well, the jet business, this is going into our 6th season. The Labatt Raceway is really kind of a special place for me because this is our first drag race where the jet was here at the old Capital Raceway. And so we've got a lot of friends and a lot of family, and might as well be family here.
That's true, yeah. No, we look forward to seeing you back here every year. What do you expect out of the conditions here tonight?
Well, to be totally honest with you, Stan, it's pretty warm tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We were really hoping to run over 290, but unless it comes and cools off a bit and the air comes to us a little bit, I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to probably be in the 270s, 280 range. I'd sure like to see it happen, but you know, the atmospheric conditions have a lot to do with these engines, and it's going to hamper our performance some.
Right. Okay, the fuel that you run in this, now I know some people know that jet engines can almost run on anything, but what do you run in this particular
Well, we prefer to run kerosene. K1 is what we prefer to run. We've run diesel in them. We've run Jet A. We've run some JP4. So they are verse on a lot of different fuels. And to be honest with you, a lot of the differences in how sooty they are, you know, you run diesel fuel in them and things get a lot sootier.
That's
but
true.
They will run fine on that.
Autotrans.
Hi, fill it up for you?
And away we go, race fans. It is Auto Trans Championship drag racing and exclusive coverage of the 1999 Snap-on Tools Hot August night. High above the announcer tower here at Labatt Raceway. I'm Gord Craig, with me, Stan Ankers. And Stan, this is going to be an unbelievable race tonight.
Oh, it is, Gord. I mean, the weather's just been perfect for the last 2 days, putting down the heat into the track. And as it cools off here tonight, as the sun goes down, the performances will pick up, and that. Looking forward to a great night here. It
is a capacity crowd here at Labatt Raceway. The first two cars on the racetrack, burnout completed, and it is Darrell Webb in the near lane in the bumper-to-bumper Corvette Alcohol Funny car, going up against a relative newcomer in the blown alcohol scene, but it's a Jay Maggio, no stranger to racing though.
No, that's true. Jay's been around for a long time, ever since about the age of 16, 17, Jay. And he's worked up through the ranks just like Darrell did. They both were racing Super Pro. Now they're both running the 750 class here, and this is Jay's first year.
And Jay, it's a 1923 T-altered Roadster, and apparently he also has a funny car body, which he wants to go with the look of a funny car. He just slaps that on that race car as well.
That's true, but Jay kind of favors the altered. He kind of likes the looks of the altered, and that's what's nice about this class. You've got the different variety of cars. You can have rear-engine dragster, funny cars, or the alters, or even bodied cars in this class.
So Jay Maggio in the far lane, Darrell Webb in the near lane. We're going to get to all of our the reaction time, elapsed time, mile per hour throughout the show here on Shaw Motorsports. Jay Maggio coming up to the start line right now, and he's looking for a win. You want to know why? He has not won against Darrell Webb at all in 1999.
No, that's true, and of course this goes back to their Super Pro days when they used to race each other. I mean, they're very good friends off the track, but right now it's winner take all.
And Maggio off the line first, a 5:97 reaction time. Darrell Webb with a 9:79 at the finish line. Hey, there's his first win.
Wow.
A 7:97, 157.37 miles an hour. And Darrell Webb running a 7:66, and just about got him at the finish line. It was close as the capacity crowd looks on, and what a wonderful night for racing here at Labatt Raceway.
That's true. It should be interesting up at the top end. It might be a little hard to get Jay's helmet off because I'm sure he's pretty pumped right now, and he's feeling really good about that win.
Bet you indeed. Here's a start, and here's a reaction time advantage. Oh, so important. Look at the jump Jay Maggio got on Darrell Webb.
Yeah, he, so to speak, in the dry rigging ranks, Darrell was sleeping a little there.
Well, we've got our pairing of top alcohol dragsters right now. Serge Dion in the far lane, and Serge, we talked to them in the pit area. We'll get to that interview here in just a couple of moments, but how about this? In-car camera, Cine Auto Visual car cam here at that raceway.
This is super, Gord, yeah. Both these fellows are quite good friends and everything, away from the track and everything. They work on each other's car, help each other out. Of course, Serge is with Kenny Sitko this year in the Sitko family car. It's Serge's motor in the car, and it's Kenny's car. And in spectator lane, we've got Steve Sitko, and he's the brother of Kenny.
Well, Steve Sitko riding a huge high right now on the weekend in Calgary at Race City Motorsports Park. Picked up the big win at the NHRA Canadian Open.
That's right. He picked up the Wally at the Canadian Open down there and won the race.
But the funny thing is, Serge Dion, about a month ago, picked up the NHRA Canadian Open win here at Labatt Raceway.
That's right, in Edmonton.
So this is an unbelievable pairing. Two drivers, while Serge is he's new to the scene as far as top alcohol drag racing is concerned. But the burnouts are complete. The tires are now nice and hot because, well, you have to do burnouts in these high-powered race cars, about 2,500 horsepower each.
That's right. That burnout is not for show. There's a definite purpose for it, and that's to heat up those tires, get them nice and sticky. As you can see, Steve's crew, they're cleaning the little bits of sand and stuff that might be on the track off the tires. Make sure they're completely cleaned and ready for the run.
Well, they're coming up to the start line right now. The Christmas line starting tree tells the drivers how close they are to the start line. There's little bulbs in a tree that illuminate. They're going to be pre-staged here in just a couple of moments. But Serge Dion, Steve Sitko, let's listen in.
Just ever so slowly edging her in.
Oh, a 4:40 reaction time for Steve Sitko. A perfect light is a 4:40.
That's a good light for Steve.
There's a win. A 6:17, 222.71 miles an hour. A 6:47, 212.51 miles an hour for Serge. So Steve Sitko takes round number one in the top alcohol dragster class here tonight on Auto Trans Championship Drag Racing and the Snap-on Tools Hot August night. We got some funny car action coming up here in just a couple of moments. moment, and that's, well, a veteran in the funny car scene, Kevin Therese out of Saskatchewan.
The Eatmore car, yes, out of Saskatoon.
Well, we had plenty of opportunity earlier on in the pit areas. We take a look at a replay here, and this is what a huge reaction time advantage looks like. Yeah, Steve Sitko with the reaction time advantage. We're going to go to the interview right now. We talked with Serge Dion in the pits.
Reminder to all the fans here.
Serge Dion with me now. Sort of a bittersweet race here about a month and a half ago at the JB's Power Center NHRA Canadian Open. Not a good finish to the victory.
Oh, not really. We're unfortunate to have a parachute malfunction, and we kind of rolled the car 4 times. Not much we could have done anything else. So we fixed the car up and went out to Spokane for 3 weeks later and kind of got ourselves another win just to make up for this crash.
So Serge, 2 wins in a row now, and you raced at the NHRA Canadian Open down in Calgary on the weekend, and you made it to the, I think it was the semifinals.
No, I kind of lost in first round actually.
Well, close enough though, but still the experience, because you're a relative newcomer to the sport of top alcohol drag racing.
That's right. This is my first year driving, and this is going to be my 5th race actually, and I think we're doing pretty well for first year.
Well, you've won half the races so far in 1999, and again, this is your 5th race tonight, and hoping for another big win here tonight.
That's right. We can't be really too greedy. I guess somebody else got to win once in a while.
Well, sometimes you almost have to be greedy, don't you, Stan?
That's true.
Well, we'll see him and Steve Sitko a little later on in this broadcast as they'll pair off once again, and obviously Serge will hope to pull one out of the hat. And again, we'll see them a little later on. It is funny car time now here on Autotrans Championship Drag Racing and Snap-on Tools Hot August Night here on Shaw Motorsports. Kevin Therese out of Humboldt, Saskatchewan in the Hershey-sponsored Eatmore Top Alcohol Funny Car. And in the near lane, local favorite. Boy, he has sure come a long way, hasn't he?
Oh, he has. John's been actually around racing for a lot longer than people know. He goes way back to the 1970s when he was involved with a nitro a fuel car out of Edmonton. But he's had this car. This is the 3rd year, and he's really put the performance in it. Each year it's got better and better, and I know for a fact about a few of the things for next year, it's going to be even better yet.
Well, we just saw the replay of that nice smoky burnout. You have to have a good burnout. If you don't have even tire temperatures, that can get you into trouble a little bit.
That's true, yeah. If they're not right, you can hook up on one tire and it'll shoot you just immediately left or right, depending on which tire hooks up, and it could be very disastrous in that.
Well, when these cars, they're pumping out around 2,500 horsepower each, and yeah, you got to have, well, everything, just 100%.
That's right, yeah.
As you go down the track. So it's Kevin Therese out of Saskatchewan, John Evanchuk right here in the old hometown, Edmonton. Reaction time again, a 4:00 is a perfect light on the start line Christmas tree.
Alberta versus Saskatchewan.
Let's listen in. The RPMs come up to around 5,000, don't they, before they pop the clutch and away they go.
Starter Eddie Shapka. Wait until they get lined up, ready to go here.
And away they go. Well, John Evanchuk, actually pretty good reaction time for both these two drivers. To a point, anyway. They should be in the low 5s. But John Evanchuk with the big win, a 6.26, 225.73 miles an hour. I think Kevin Therese shut her down a little bit. Maybe some tire shake in that race car?
I believe that's what happened there, Gord. He had a little tire shake and wisely shut it off. It's better to come back, race another day, than to stuff the car into the wall.
You've got your car, you've got your driver, but you also have your crew. And John Evanchuk's crew, very, very happy after that run.
That's true, Gord. And John's crew chief, Wayne Barber, he's been around this business for a long time.
Wayne Barber, crew chief, John Evanchuk's Red Wolf Funny Car, the race team. Explain to the viewers at home the basic components of a 25 horsepower top alcohol motor.
2,500 horsepower, but yeah. It's basically aluminum block, big everything, big compression, camshaft, just everything. Then you put a PSI blower on top of it, which it takes about 800 horsepower alone just to turn the blower. But of course you get that back again. And you have to have a super good clutch, the transmission, everything has to be double strong stuff to make it down to run 6:15s and 5-second passes with these things.
Well, you're preparing it for a run here at the Hot August Night at Labatt Raceway in Edmonton, Alberta. Now, what are some of the things? Each racetrack is different. Okay, you were running in Calgary just several days ago. Compare that racetrack to this racetrack and the setup of the motor.
Well, the setup of the motor does, the racetrack makes a big difference to that. We'll have to see after they have some cars go down this racetrack tonight, just exactly, Ken Thompson's preparing it, so I'm sure it'll be a pretty all right racetrack. The one in Calgary on the weekend, with the weather being the way it was a little suspect. You can't put all the power all the time down to the ground. It'll just smoke even these big tires on the back. So yeah, the racetrack makes a big difference, but I'm quite sure that it'll be a pretty good racetrack out here tonight. You can look forward to seeing some low 6 numbers anyways.
Looking forward to that, and the viewers at home are looking forward to that as well. Wayne Barber keeping the pedal to the metal for the John Evanchik Red Wolf Funny Car Race Team. Well, Stan, a driver can be good, but a crew chief has to be great.
That's true. And speaking about great crew chiefs here, we've got the Bateman and Reynolds car out of Calgary, Alberta. Currently the 1998 Division 6 winner, and this year they're leading the points at this point in time, not by much, but this is a car that runs. This should be an interesting run with this car here.
They've had an awesome year in the province of Alberta alone. Just about a month ago, we saw the highlights in the opening of our program tonight, winning the NHRA Canadian Open at Labatt Raceway. It was about a month later, actually maybe just a few days ago, they picked up the big win in Calgary at Race City Motorsports Park and the NHRA Canadian Open Championship there.
That's right. They picked up both wins with the Canadian National Open Challenge here in Alberta.
Well, also Roger Bateman, the current track record here at Labatt Raceway in the top alcohol funny car class. He set it at the NHRA Canadian Open about a month ago. 238.15 miles an hour, 5.87 seconds. I don't think we'll see some track records in the funny car class tonight. You never know, but right now I think the track's just a little bit too hot and maybe a little greasy.
That's true, Gordon. No, I don't think we're going to see any record run right here. Maybe a little later on tonight. It's a little interesting tidbit about Roger. He goes way back, just like I do. And back in the old Speedway days, he used to drive an Altered. And there was one day there where it kind of got out of whack because it wasn't set up right, and he took out the tree.
Well, Roger Bateman hoping not to take out the tree here tonight, but he's looking over his left-hand shoulder right now. Danny Fillion out of Saskatchewan, newcomer in the alcohol funny car class, is recently licensed. And actually, last year in our broadcast, we saw him doing some licensing passes. So good luck to Danny Fillion, but man, he's got his hands full in this run here against Roger Bateman. You're going to hear the RPMs come up once again to around 5,000. Reaction time, a perfect light again is 4:00. Both drivers are away. Well, Roger Bateman off a little bit. Danny Fillion out to an early start, but look at the horsepower taking over.
That's true. That's true, Gord. And if you
6.66-second run, 232.31 miles an hour, and 8.28, 123.20 miles an hour for Danny Fillion in the far lane. So Roger Bateman again. What we're doing here, it's match race format here tonight. We'll get to that in just a couple of moments. You had something to say, Stan?
Yes, I was just going to say, if you watch that run with Roger, he kind of hit that little bump in the right-hand lane and it kind of unloaded. But Roger's very good at backpedaling the car, and that's what he did, and you saw what happened there. He backpedaled her and got back into her, and he won the race.
Well, we got a replay coming up here.
Yes, here, watch it here in the right-hand lane coming up. About 100 feet out.
Look at the tires.
And he's hazing the tires a little
tire shake. So
yeah,
that's how Danny
Fillion, watch right here, it kind of jumps.
Got out to an early start there, an early lead, but the horsepower again taking over. Roger Bateman picking up the big win in that round.
Now we have Gord Whitehead coming up to the starting line right now. He's about to do his burnout here. Gord out of Saskatchewan also.
Now we've got, we just mentioned the match race format. It's Glenn Whitehead. Puts the pedal to the metal, smokes those tires. Now the match race format that we have for you tonight, we've got 5 funny cars on the property. Okay, this is Glenn Whitehead. And right now, John Evanchik has got the best ET out of all of them.
That's right.
Roger Bateman running a 6.66 second run. So we take the top 2 drivers, they go right to the final, okay? And we'll be seeing the top 2 drivers a little later on in this broadcast. So right now the bump is a 6.66 second run. Glenn Whitehead, in order to make it to the final, has to go faster than 6.66 seconds in the quarter mile. Speed doesn't matter, okay?
No.
Speed's nice,
No.
okay?
That's true.
But as far as drag racing is concerned, it is ET that gets you the win,
That's right. ET gets you the win.
or elapsed time. So yeah, he's a relative newcomer. I believe this is his 4th year racing.
Yes, Gord is very new to this thing, but again, just like the Danny Fillion in the Snap-on car, he's picked up his performance this year and that, and just got better and better every year here. So I look forward to great things out of Gord here.
Yeah, he holds the track record at Saskatchewan International Raceway in Saskatoon. Glenn Whitehead, RPM's up, away he goes. Reaction time not showing on our monitor right now, but we'll get the ET and mile. Yes, we do. 674, 212.31 miles an hour. Doesn't have it. So Evanchuk, Bateman, a 6.26 for Evanchuk. Bateman, a 6.66 second run. We'll see them in the final a little bit later on tonight. Glenn Whitehead, Kevin Therese, and Danny Fillion. Not quite enough to make it to the final here tonight. It is motorcycle time. Stand by. Some nitromethane coming up next. Yeah, well, unfortunately, this is TV, Stan, and not TV. It's wonderful coverage that Shaw's doing here at Labatt Raceway, but nothing beats being at the race facility itself.
No, you get a whiff of that nitro, and I'll tell you, you'd never forget it once you've got your first whiff.
About 600 horsepower is what Kenny Kent, owner of Harley-Davidson of Edmonton, is sitting on. Top fuel Harley-Davidson. He just got back from Sturgis, South Dakota. Out of 18 machines, he qualified 13th, and he's the first in Canada ever to go over 200 miles an hour on 2 wheels. Burnout time.
That's quite the feat, actually, to go to Sturgis, because that is the granddaddy race for the bike guys, and they just love going there. And for Kenny to qualify like that, that's pretty good for him, especially for a guy way up north here where we have winter 4 to 6 months out of the year. You know, and he just doesn't get the track time some of these other guys do stateside. So Kenny's been doing this for a long time, but he, you know, and it takes quite a bit to dial these bikes in, Gord.
Kenny Kent will be taking on George Welch. Now, this is not a top fuel bike that George is on. It's called a B fuel bike. It's carbureted, and it's got 2 gears, I believe, in this machine. So it's down in horsepower. George has probably got around 300 horsepower, 350 horsepower, and he's taking on Ken Kent.
That's
600
true.
horsepower. We're going to see the difference in performance on these machines on this run. And
Yeah.
watch the wrists. Watch the wrists on these 2 riders here as they crank it. George Welch is away, a 686 reaction time. George Welch at 654. And you can see the difference in horsepower. But
yeah, Kenny
slow
just
it down
motors
a little
away.
bit, though.
And 8:01 at 158 miles an hour. We're getting into a 978 to 100.
In the pits right now, George Welch, rider of the nitro-powered motorcycle. First off, George, congratulations on making it to the semifinals a few weeks ago at the all-bike drags.
Thank you, Gord.
And it's been a fun experience for you. You started off in the top gas class, and you moved up into nitro. And tonight, no pressure whatsoever. You're the only nitro bike on the property.
Yeah, so I understand. I thought that Ken was going to come out, but I haven't seen him yet. So we're just going to do a few test and tunes to get ready for the weekend coming up in Ashcroft.
Well, that's going to be a great weekend for you there. And, of course, having a track in your own backyard where you can come out and do a little test and tuning sure helps.
Yeah, it's nice when they have evenings or days or weekends like this where the track is prepped properly for nitro, so you can actually, you know, do a proper test and tune.
That's right. And not a cheap sport to run, especially in the nitromethane class.
No, it's costly. You know, the fuel is $50 a gallon to begin with, so think about it from there.
Well, George Welch, have fun tonight. We're going to show a shot of you running down the track here a little later on this evening. And, hey, let's put some good numbers up on the board.
We'll do our best.
And just after that video that we shot there, Ken Kent actually rumbled onto the property. And it's kind of nice to have 2 nitro bikes on the property. And Ken's performance off just a little bit, maybe about 25 to 30 miles per hour. And the ET was off maybe by about a second and a half. But we're sure we'll get some performance out of him a little later on tonight when we get George Welch back out to take on Ken Kent. The numbers for George Welch, wonderful. But speaking of performance,
That's what the people came for.
the whine of the turbine.
Yes.
What a distinct sound that these jet cars make. You're looking at current track record holder from Billings, Montana, Chuck Haynes in Gravity Storm. Chuck Haynes, just a couple of years ago, ran 5.52 seconds in the quarter mile, and he lost out the mile-per-hour record to Doug Dothett from California. Doug ran 289.20 miles an hour, and again, wouldn't it be nice to see a new track record set here at the Labatt Raceway in Autotrans Championship Drag Racing?
That's true, Gord, because a couple years ago, they were only allowed to run these cars up to 300 miles an hour. Now they've bumped it up to 320. So who knows what we're going to see here tonight.
Well, that interview we did with Chuck earlier on, he was a little bit worried about the weather conditions. It's a beautiful day. Hey, it's great for sun tanning and all that kind of stuff, but like, you know, like a person standing out in the hot sun all day, you get sort of tired and sluggish. Race cars react in the same way.
That's true. Yes, they do, Gord.
Ready for a fire show?
Yes.
For those of you at home who have not seen a fire show, stand by. It's going to get great tonight too when the lights go out, or lights come on. Here comes
Here
the
we
plan.
go.
Sit back and enjoy, Stan. Here we go.
Now this is part of their show, Gord, okay? It's not really that necessary that they do this, but the fans love it, and hey, it is fantastic, especially when we get to see it at night.
Yeah, and we will be carrying the jet cars. Going to be running 2 more times after this pass.
That's right.
Now, Chuck Haynes actually owns the car that he's running against here. He's sort of a 2-car team. Leland Blee, also from the great state of Montana, who's a newcomer to the jet car scene, is piloting that car here tonight. Jet dragster called Pacifier. About 11,000 horsepower for each of these jet dragsters.
Just awesome, Gord. Just awesome. I mean, how would you like to go get your groceries with one of these babies?
I wouldn't like to tailgate one of these guys, that's for sure.
Yeah, but wouldn't they be great in the wintertime for driving up that road as you're driving down it?
Alrighty, it's horsepower time, mile-per-hour time. Chuck Haynes, Leland Blee, and away they go. Reaction time goes to Blee. And he crosses the finish line with a 6:33, 251.60 miles an hour, beating his boss, who had the slower ET, a 6.8 or a faster ET, a 6:18 at 263.08 miles an hour. But you can see there's what reaction time does for you. You get the early jump. Sometimes it's almost impossible, even if you have the faster car.
That's true.
To come back for the win. The fans showing their approval. First pass of the jet dragsters.
You cannot sleep, Gord. When you get that light, you've got to go. Now, if you watch Chuck's car here towards the end, watch the front end. It just picks up off the track a little, just a little. Just watch it closely here.
Almost catches him. Maybe if the track was maybe an additional 100 feet.
There.
Yeah. The track was an additional 100 feet in length. He may have caught Leland Blee.
That's right.
But it's only a quarter mile, the race, from start to finish.
That's all right. I knowing Chuck, he'll be coming back wanting to get the next one.
Well, 2 first-timers here at Labatt Raceway in Edmonton, and we've got them. They're lining up on the start line right now. What a crowd here at Labatt Raceway tonight. It's probably around 7,000, maybe 8,000 people.
It's got to be a record crowd for Labatt Raceway, Gord. Just got to be a record.
Well, it's a great show, as always. When you get the feature cars like this, guaranteed performance from these jet cars, too. Like, you don't have to worry about doing this, the burnouts of the tires, because it's almost like, it's a jet car on 4 wheels. That's pretty well explains it. Very light in weight as well. 1,500 pounds, sometimes these cars weigh, and that's about it.
That's right. Basically what it is, a 747 minus the body.
Lots of families out of Labatt Raceway here tonight, the youngsters, and it's wise. Plug your ears.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, you can hurt your ears.
From Van Nuys, California, he's in the far lane, driving the Cannonball Express. And it is one of the more unique jet dragster. Good old Casey Jones. In the near lane, from Spokane, Washington, driving Brain Damaged.
What an appropriate name. What an appropriate name.
It's a unique sound, the Brain Damaged jet dragster of Neil Hansen. And the fire show once again, and again, the sun is up right now. And when the sun goes down, like the Jet Dragsters are coming back 2 more times in our broadcast here.
But I mean, we're seeing the fire show plain as day, so to speak, here, Gord, right now. So wait till the sun goes down. That's why they call it the hot August night.
Well, the jet car, a typical jet car, will burn about 24 gallons of fuel per quarter-mile run. Most of it's probably used up in the fire show.
I would think so, Gord, yes. Probably 20 in the fire show and 5 down the track.
All right, race fans. First pass ever for these 2 drivers in Edmonton. Let's see how they do.
Casey's still bringing her in there, just lining her up. Both pre-stakes, there they go.
Oh, look at the reaction. 499 in the 4s. That's pretty good for a jet. And he crosses the finish line with the win, a 6:55, 247.66 miles an hour. Hansen an 850, 212.01 miles an hour. Those numbers won't set the world on fire, but then again, it's a new racetrack for them. They don't want to take their chances. They got to familiarize themselves.
That's true, Gord.
It's a short shutdown lane here too. It's a quarter-mile in length, exactly the same that they're racing on.
That's true. With an additional, maybe another quarter-mile of dirt shutdown.
Well, that's one area you definitely don't want to use, that dirt shutdown area. A few of the drivers have, but you stay out of that area. Stan, it was an incredible display of race action, the first round of the Alcohol Funny Cars and Dragsters, and of course our Jets.
Yes, it was, Gord. What a super first round there. Now, some of the guys did have a little bit of trouble getting down the track, but that normally happens, but I'm looking for great things come second round here.
Well, Steve Sitko found some bite in the track, running about 6:17 in the quarter mile, and look for maybe into the 6:0s later on here tonight.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that. Steve's on a hot tear right now. He just won the National Open in Calgary last weekend, and yeah, he's on a hot tear, so look for those numbers out of Steve tonight.
Well, a lot of the drivers are talking about driving down the quarter mile into the sun. It is a scorcher of a night here. Auto Trends Championship Drag Racing and the 1999 Snap-on Tools Hot August Night temperature. Must be in the 30s.
Yes, it is. It's quite warm out there, Gord, but of course, with the 2 days of heat we've had, that's great for the track. That's going to make for great traction here, especially when the sun goes down and starts to cool off. We're going to see some good numbers out of all the classes.
And indeed, we've got more race action to come here on Shaw Motorsports. Stand by. We've got more racing coming up next. Press, we got Casey Jones. Casey, welcome to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and Labatt Raceway.
Well, thank you very much. We're really excited about being here. You know, this is our first trip up here, and we can't be any more thrilled than what we are, let me tell you.
Well, as far as veterans in the jet drag racing scene is concerned, you probably rank up there as number 1 on the runway.
We've been around for a while. We sat out for a number of years, but we're back really strong now. We've been racing full-time now for about 4 years, and just having a ball.
Well, tell us a little bit about your Jet Dragster. It's a very, very unique machine. That's all I can say. And the fans at home and in the grandstands are going, hey, I've never seen anything like this before in my life.
Well, with a name like Casey Jones, I felt like I would have really missed a train, if you know what I mean, if I didn't put together a choo-choo train. So we have a cow catcher on the front, complete with a smokestack and a bell and a whistle and an engineer's cabin in the back. It's just a fun car. The whole design concept came with my name, obviously. I've had trains in my life, all my life. From the time I was born, my mom and dad wanted to have a Casey Jones. So, I mean, Santa Claus was real good to me one Christmas where I woke up one morning. I actually had a pedal car called the Cannonball Express Casey Jones Jr. And I was 3 years old when that happened, you know. So, needless to say, it's something that's been a part of my life all my life.
It's a little bit of history there, and it's stuff that the race fans like to hear. They like the race cars, but there's people attached to these machines, and it's kind of neat to hear some in-depth stuff. And it's wonderful that you can make the trek up here to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I sure hope that people have treated you well here so far.
Oh, it's been fantastic. I've got a good friend of mine, Brad Jadaszewski, that lives over in Drayton Valley, and I met Brad back in 1985 when I was just a young guy starting off in the jet car deal, and he was pretty big up here in the alcohol funny cars and stuff. In fact, me and Brad are planning on putting together a jet-powered funny car, and we're going to have a jet funny car up here in Canada next year, so we're really excited about that. And he's been down to see me about 2 or 3 times over the years, and I've never been able to make it up here, so to finally get up and be up here to meet Brad and his family and all, it's been fantastic. We're fortunately going to be able to sneak in about a week's worth of vacation in here, so we're really excited.
Well, that is fantastic. Well, Casey Jones, welcome again to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and have fun the rest of the night here at Labatt Raceway.
You better believe it. We're going to have a good time. I hope everybody enjoys the car, and we're, like I said, thrilled to be here. Thank you.
What an incredible man.
Just super. Just super. Really nice guy.
Well, that's the neat thing about drag racing. It is one big happy family. It really is. Once you get to know the drivers.
Yeah, it's the people that's kept me around it all the years that I've been involved with.
Well, we got the Nitro bikes out one more time. They've switched lanes now. That's George Welch out of Edmonton. He's wrapping up his burnout on his B Fuel Nitro Harley Davidson. Not a cheap sport. This is Nitro. Any vehicle powered by Nitro.
No, nor any bike even. Very expensive, especially the Harleys, because basically all the pieces have to be virtually handmade for them because they're not an aftermarket like your small block, big block Chevys or Mopars or Fords.
Kenny Kent, also out of Edmonton. But he's been a busy guy. Just like 3 days ago, Sturgis, South Dakota at the all-bike drag. So he may be a little bleary-eyed here tonight.
I think they have to be a little blurry-eyed to get on these bikes to start with, Gord.
Well, the bikes are hooked up. Watch the front wheel, okay? Sometimes they will carry the front wheel off the ground, maybe about 60 feet, sometimes 100. Ken is hooked.
Yeah.
He has hooked up a little bit of a bobble there, but a 747, 174.38 miles an hour, and a stout run from George Welch, an 895, 144.97 miles an hour. Okay, in the pit area right now, driving the brain-damaged jet dragster from Spokane, Washington, Neil Hansen. And Neil, sort of a miracle that you're here.
Well, we found out about the race on Friday. We raced Spokane last Saturday, jumped in the truck. We raced with Casey last weekend and kind of come up here to have some fun.
You've been doing this for 3 years, and nothing beats jet drag racing, especially for the show that you put on for the race fans.
Well, that's the whole point. We're here strictly to put on a show for the crowd. I mean, as you can see, when we go down the track, everybody is on their feet. They're hooting and hollering. Hopefully the stands will take the punishment up there. People get to jumping up and down and having a lot of fun. That's the main thing.
Well, you're enjoying it here. First time at Labatt Raceway, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and your first impression so far?
I love it up here. It's going to be hard-pressed to get me back in the States.
Aha! Hey, good stuff. Neil Hansen, good luck in your remaining passes here tonight at Labatt Raceway.
Well, thank you much. Hopefully we'll do better the next couple passes. We had a little bit of a problem in the cockpit last round, and we'll get that taken care of, and next pass ought to be 250, 255.
Well, let's just hope that he gets into the 250 range. I know he's probably disappointed with that first run ever down the racetrack here, but then again, he can't be too careful either.
No, you can't. And look what we got coming up, Gord. A little added feature to tonight's show.
Well, this was an unexpected surprise. As you can see, they're burning something different in this motor.
The sweet smell of nitro. Nitro funny car.
About 6,000 horsepower for these nitro funny cars. Brand spanking new. Jason Duchesne, they're based out of Sherwood Park in the Castrol GTX trial and error machine. And they were down in Spokane for the AHRA World Finals, had a chance to sort of stretch their legs in this race car. They're still trying to figure it out, and really, this is only about his 5th or 6th pass for this race car. It's that brand new.
That's true, Gord. He's still basically doing test and tune runs and that, so I expect here we're not going to see a great run. He'll get into it and just take it easy. It's still a learning process. I mean, this is one powerful car.
It is indeed.
You don't want to fool around with this because you can get into trouble very quickly. Just an easy burnout.
Yeah.
Heat up the tires a little.
Yeah.
That tells me that, this won't be a hard all-out run.
No.
Again, Jason is still trying to get his license, so he's got a little way to go here to get down to the level where he's got to get the EP down to into the low 540, I believe it is. And he's just taking it nice and easy, which is the way you should. You don't want to rush this.
Well, it definitely helps when you have the racetrack in your own backyard to, I guess, practice on.
Yeah, it does, Gord.
But the fans, of course, a bonus, they weren't expecting this, so a little bit of the sound is so distinct in a nitro funny car,
yeah.
and even a top fuel dragster.
That crisp crackling that you get off of that, and again, Gord, unfortunately, we've got this on TV, we don't have smell-o-vision yet, but it'd sure be nice if the people out there could smell this. This nitro is just something unreal. You can see the flames coming out of the exhaust headers. This, again, just like the jet cars, is just something awesome to watch at night when it's all 8 candles are lit up and it goes down the track. It's just a beautiful thing of poetry to watch in motion.
Jason is off and he got out of the groove. We sort of expected that.
Yeah, he got a little out of shape right off the starting line. It kind of unloaded on him, and he kind of headed a little left, but wisely backed out of it.
He's coasting. Yeah. Look at this. 71 miles an hour. He's coasting.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, wise move on Jason's part.
It is. Don't want to bash that car into the wall or anything like that. But it's sure nice to have Jason Duchesne, Rick, and Jason, Katrina, Neil Federley. Neil Federley, that's sort of a story there too. His uncle is Bernie Federley, who tunes John Force's race car, who happens to have the same sponsorship, Castrol GTX, leading the points for 1999 south of the border.
That's right. So I know darn well there's some bit of the John Force, Bernie Federley touch in this car.
They probably communicate with each other, and I would imagine this footage will be sent down to good old Bernie Federley south of the border after the airing. And yes, the fans, they love it, waving at all their favorite drivers. We're going to take a break here right now and be back with more race action. Championship drag racing. We're at Labatt Raceway, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and the 1999 Snap-on Duels. Hot August night, and the action doesn't get any hotter than this. Round two of the jet cars. Stan Ankers with me in the announcer tower, and Stan, I think we're going to see a little bit more performance. It's cooled off just a little bit out there. The sun is
going down.
It's sunset now.
Yeah, it's going down. That means that the air's right, and the heat that's in the track is going to stick with it. And I expect that we'll see some performance here now.
I know the cameras are going to be flashing like crazy in the grandstands here as we get set to light these afterburners. And Chuck is first, Leland Blee, and Pacifier is next, and at the fire shows. Man, you got to like these.
Oh, no doubt, Gord, no doubt. As you can see, it is getting darker, and it is showing up more so than it did in the daylight.
Well, earlier this year, down in Montana, where Chuck Haynes is from, outside of Billings, they were at the Big Sky Balloon Fest. Now, you know how they have with the flames shooting up inside the balloon, and Chuck Haynes' Jet Dragster was there, just having a little bit of competition with the balloon. So it was
that would have been fun.
It would have been fun to see. No balloons here, but we've got some of the fastest jet dragsters in the western part of North America on the property here tonight. Burner pops now as they inch up. Actually, they've got a brake which they release, and they actually use the jet engine thrust to push them
forward. That's what pushes them forward. Yeah. It's not like your mechanically driven V8 cars.
Like a piston engine. No, it's just a turbine.
It's a thrust turbine, and actually a very simple thing here. Takes maintenance on them. I mean, don't get me wrong, but quite an easy way to run.
Low maintenance.
Within reason, yes.
All right, here we go. Round two of the Jets. Chuck Haynes, Leland Blee.
Staging. There they go.
But Leland again gets the better reaction time over his boss. Chuck's got this car running great. A 5.97, 279.58 miles an hour for the win. Leland a 6.17. Looks like he may have shut her off early. 219.72 miles an hour. I know they're driving directly into, the sun is basically down now, but still there's a little bit of a glare, and sometimes it could be a little disconcerting for the drivers. Better be safe again.
No, that's true, Gord. Yeah, the sun, of course, with the way the track runs heading to the west, at certain times of the year, and this is the time of the year we're getting into it, where it is a little bit effective in that, and the drivers have to compensate for that.
Well, that's getting closer to track record-setting material there again. 289.20 miles an hour is the track record. So Chuck Haynes about 10 miles an hour off. He's got one more attempt to regain the mile-per-hour record here at Labatt Raceway. He already has the ET, set that back in 1997 with a 5.52. But with jet cars, kind of nice to have the mile per hour to go with the ET record as well.
That's true, Gord. Yeah, actually, I think they work more on the mile per hour, whereas the other drag racers, they look at the ET. That's the important thing for them.
That's the important number for them. But for jet cars, of course, speed, because a lot of people can relate more to speed than elapsed time.
That's
so how fast you go? 400 miles an hour. That sounds fast. How fast you go? 14 seconds. So see what I mean?
Well,
all perspective.
Just to put it in a little perspective, Gord, for the folks out there, you want to know what 5.5 seconds is like? Put it on your watch, time it, run as fast as you can for 5.5 seconds. Then just remember that these cars have gone down a whole quarter mile in that 5.5 seconds, where you've maybe gone 100 feet.
Great place to bring a date.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Great
fans are
place.
having a great time here tonight. Just a super crowd again.
Again, yeah, probably around 8,000,
It's got to be a record
8,500.
crowd
Oh, it
here
has
tonight.
to be. Has to be tonight. Standing room.
It's the
only
best one
Sunday
I've ever
race, too.
seen. They're lined up all the way down the end of the quarter mile. The stands are full and they're standing up the rest of the way.
Well, our next two pairing of Jet Dragsters, the newcomers here to Labatt Raceway in Edmonton. K.C. Jones from Van Nuys, California, and the Cannonball Express. Again, one of the unique Jet Dragsters on the property, and we've got a special treat as well. We've got an onboard camera on this car.
I was just
And
gonna mention
I'm
that, Gord.
hoping the footage works out well. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, okay?
Oh, I hope so, Gord, because if it is, it's going to be a treat for the folks out there.
Well, it's something new we are trying here at Shaw Motorsports, just to give the race fans who watch our shows on TV a different perspective, what the driver sees, and where I'm keeping my fingers crossed for this in-car camera footage. From Spokane, Washington, he was just informed about this race about 4 days ago, and he hopped in the van and towed up his Jet Dragster here, and Neil Hansen, and the brain-damaged Jet Dragster, and he's having a hoot. As what we talked with him earlier on, he's thoroughly enjoying himself here in Edmonton. He's hoping to be invited back, and I'm sure he will.
Yeah, no, I think they will be. I mean, and yes, like you're saying, Gord, we were talking to them a little earlier on there. They're just having a great time up here. They love the weather. I think it's like some Americans that do come up here, they don't realize that they always sort of think it's cold up here, but it's a hot one today.
It is indeed. Probably around 30 degrees Celsius when we kicked off our show. It's cooled off probably a good 5, maybe even close to 10 degrees now. So that's why we talk about the air.
Which is what we want for performance.
Yes.
This Cannonball Express, I just can't sort of say enough about it. It looks like an old steam engine if you get a real close look at it. The old 1800 steam engine. And they in their right, they had performance too.
And the fire show begins, of course, to the capacity crowd's approval here at Labatt Raceway. And hey, there's our in-car camera, City Audio Visual. Thank you very much. It's working. Now, no guarantees they're going to get their camera back in the in the same condition they lent it to us. But again, thank you, City Audio.
Gord, that was
your
worth
help.
the price of admission there alone.
Well, better than having a man camera sitting on that car, I guess, eh?
That's true.
It is the Cannonball Express. Taking on brain damage as we go. Look at the bell. Oh, what a view. What a view. Casey Jones and Neil Hansen, second pass of the Jet Dragsters here tonight. Autotrans Championship Drag Racing and the 1999 edition of Snap-on Tools. Hot August night. They come up to the start line, inching their way.
Eddie Shapka just waiting for them to get in there. Eddie's been doing this for a long time. Eddie's been doing this well over 25 years. Starter at the old racetrack up in the north end of town.
Like the Buster Couch of starters in Canada.
That's right. That's what Eddie is. And very good at it.
Neil Hansen getting the jump. Oh, Casey Jones sleeping at the switch. Neil Hansen will win it, a 676, 242.78 miles an hour. Casey Jones, a 636. He had the faster ET, but his slow reaction time cost him. And look what we're going to do here. Here is a replay. This is on board Cine Audiovisual Car Cam. From start to finish on board the Cannonball Express, and what a view.
What a view, Gord. 6.36 seconds.
Here's what a 250
And here's the shutdown. Oh, this is just awesome.
I'm actually speechless at this view.
Yeah, Gord, I've been at the starting line and I've been up at the top end watching these cars come at you. But
Safety Safari of Labatt Raceway at the top end of the
Dave
racetrack.
Bortman there, yes.
Yeah.
It's just a different view that I've never seen before.
Yeah, you can see the jump that Neil Hansen got on Casey Jones. And Jones tried all he could to make up for the reaction time difference. Not going to do it.
No, unfortunately, that quarter mile comes up way too quick. Here we have Darrell Webb in his bumper-to-bumper Corvette.
The blown alcohol funny car of Darrell Webb. And again, he started out pro, super pro, and then he went into the super pro class in this exact race car.
That's
and
correct.
then he put the blower on it.
Stepped it up, kept stepping it up, yeah.
And now running consistently in the 7.5s, 8-second range.
And maybe we're going to get a treat of his nickname, the Burnout King.
Well, you can see him just finishing the burnout there. Jay Maggio doing his burnout now, and that blown altered. Jay Maggio, well, he's won some of the big races. Back in 1995, he won one of the biggest bracket race payouts in Edmonton at the Big Bucks brackets. I think it around $5,000 to win in that race, something around that. But the 97 Canadian National Open winner, and in Super Comp, because Jay used to run Super Comp.
That's true, yeah.
Speed can be addictive.
It is, and it is with Jay.
Yes.
He just likes to keep going faster and faster. It's the nature of the beast.
Well, he took last year off, didn't he? And
hang on, we got a problem here. They're shutting him down for some reason or other. Something has happened there.
Is that Eddie there with the flashlight?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Unfortunately, we've got a malfunction of some sort here.
Well, we'll find out what the deal is on Jay Maggio's car. They are pushing that race car back. Darrell Webb should be entering the picture here in just a couple of moments. His burnouts are just, they're unbelievable. They sometimes last almost the length, a quarter-mile burnout.
Quarter-mile. He's known as the Burnout King. A few races back this year down in Calgary, he was challenged by a fellow out of Montana for the Burnout King, and Darrell showed him who's the boss.
Well, just to
Still
show
is
you how
the boss.
popular Darrell Webb is, he was invited to an oval race at Edmonton City Center Airport for a Castrol stock car race a while back, and a halftime show. It's Darrell Webb in a funny car at a stock car race doing a burnout for the race fans. And motorsports is motorsports. If it's got an engine, 4 wheels or 2 wheels, hey, nothing beats it.
No.
So tough break. Doggone it. For Jay Maggio, he is done. He sits, if you could only read what he's thinking right now. He's looking on at Darrell Webb in his Corvette Alcohol funny car. That's too bad.
Yeah, it is.
It's the biggest show of the year at Labatt Raceway. You want to perform for the fans.
Word has come down that his header on his left-hand side of the motor let go and came loose.
Well,
for that reason.
Darrell Webb is off and running, and Darrell Webb clips the 8-mile marker. If he clipped the quarter-mile marker, we would have got the speed. 8:34, 154.24 miles an hour for Darrell Webb. Yikes, he got out of the groove a little bit, kept his foot in it, and then started lurching towards the center of the racetrack.
Maybe it's just as well Jay didn't run side-by-side with him in this run.
It's a possibility that those two could have come in contact with each other. So you can see the roof hatch popping up on Darrell Webb's Alcohol funny car. He's sort of going, uh-oh, what happened there?
Well, they'll just check out, make sure he's all right. Because he could have had some tires.
Here's the replay.
Look at him coming over the center line, and boom, there goes the 8th mile.
Pylon goes for a ride as well. Tough break for Darrell Webb.
He's fighting her here a little, Gord.
Yes, he is. But then again, it's nighttime.
Doing a super job of driving it out.
Yeah, indeed he did. Darrell Webb out of Edmonton. Looney Bin Racing Team. They're going to push Jay Maggio's car back to the pit area. They got to replace the 8th mile marker, so it's going to be a perfect opportunity for us to take a commercial break right now. Back with more race action.
Guys there, he's got his game face on and he's ready to go.
Betcha he is. Now, one thing that, we've had a lot of night races here. You and I have worked at this facility since day one, 92, 93. And nighttime races around 9:30 at night, the dew sometimes settles over the racetrack and it makes things just a little bit slick sometimes for these drivers. So right now they're prepping the racetrack, getting ready for these high-powered race cars because, you don't want these guys driving on, sort of a skating rink.
No, that's right, Gord. Even though it's a dew and it feels nice and everything and it's cool, it is detrimental to these cars because they need all the traction they can get.
Well, interesting that they're now fired and they're ready to go down here, get these tires nice and warm so they get the bite that they need to launch off this concrete race surface down the track.
Yeah, because the heat will still be in the track there, okay?
Yep.
But they still got to get the tires to the performance and to the point where they need that and get the combination of the two of the heat still in the track and the heat on the tires and the VHT, which is a very sticky substance. If you were to walk over that, if your shoes aren't buckled on or tied down well, you're going to walk right on them. As many a racer's cohort has found out.
Yeah,
all of a sudden
VHT is wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
these high-powered race cars. For our stats fans, just to pass along your way, the top alcohol dragster record at this facility, Labatt Raceway, Bernie Plurd from Kent, Washington, 578, and there's our in-car camera view again from City Audio Visual.
Just super pictures with it.
249.37 miles per hour is the speed record in the top alcohol dragster class here at this facility. So the burnout's complete. Tires are nice and warm, and so you can see the crew leading each of these drivers back, and they try and position their cars right on the rubber that they laid down during the smoky burnout.
Oh, that is a very critical point,
Yeah.
Gord. They got to get back into that same groove that they laid down. Otherwise, it's an aborted run. It's just a wasted run.
Just over 500 cubic inch motors in both of these top alcohol dragsters, pumping out around 2,500, maybe kissing the 3,000 horsepower mark. Good shot there of Serge Dion again, wanting to even this against Steve Sitko.
Yeah. Serge, a local contractor here in Edmonton.
They're going to inch up to the start line now. Little lights on the Christmas line start tree tell them when they're pre-staged, then staged. We'll get into that and maybe another broadcast of NHRA drag racing here on Shaw Motorsports. The RPMs will come up. And away they go. Steve Sitko, a 430. He is out in front. And see that flash?
Yeah, something happened there, Gord.
Boom. 748. He coasts to a 138.93 mile an hour win. It could be a costly victory for Steve Sitko. Serge Dion, a 998. He shuts her down. 777.96 miles an hour. I saw a flash and I heard a boom.
I would think that might be the burst panel that went out there,
okay,
Gord. I'm not 100% sure,
right.
but that sure was indications of it.
Yeah, not a good sound whatsoever. Let's take a look at the replay here. And I do believe, yes, we are going to get a finish line shot. Watch this. Boom.
Boom, right
There's
there.
your flash right there, and all the power is gone right now. It's just momentum that's carrying them across the finish line.
What that burst panel does,
Ouch.
Gord, is it if the blower builds up too much pressure in there, it bursts it out so it doesn't grenade it and shoot it out like shrapnel all over the track and over the fans in the stands.
And we've just been informed there is some oil on the racetrack there. They cleaning it up as best as they possibly can, okay? But with the dew that has sort of settled over this racetrack, they've figured now that it's not going to be wise to let these piston-driven race cars drive down the left-hand side. Safety conscious. You can see a little bit of grease sweep laid down right by the pylon, a sort of white, powdery-looking substance. So they've laid down some grease sweep there, but unfortunately, the race director feels that that left lane is not safe. But we earlier on in the broadcast, match racing, okay, we got the funny cars, okay. Normally, we'd have a final, two funny cars side by side going down the drag strip. But
due to safety concerns.
For the interest of safety, yes. No, they're not going to be running side by side. Roger Bateman and John Evanchuk are in the final, okay, but they're going to be doing single passes. It's too bad that we have to do this. Well, we're not doing it, but we're going to cover the runs here by the finalists. Roger Bateman out of Calgary, Alberta. It would have been neat to have a Battle of Alberta drag racing style. Calgary versus Edmonton. We still will, okay?
Yeah, that's true, Gord. Actually,
numbers.
In a sense here, it's maybe even a little more of a true battle because both cars will be running down the right-hand side, and whoever runs the quickest, you know, because sometimes the lanes can be, one can be a little quicker than the other, have a bump in it that affects your performance and that.
Also, concentration now is on a single pass, so you don't have to worry about the guy to the left of me or to the right of me. So it's just sole concentration here. So sheer performance, okay? This is the final, part one. I think that's how we're going to word it, okay, Stan? Yeah. Roger Bateman from Calgary, some final checks.
Actually, Gord, even if it was a side-by-side run, these drivers, they don't even think about the guy in the other lane. They run their own race and do what they have to do, and what happens, happens. We see it as a side-by-side run, and yes, there is an eventual winner, but they really just run their own race, and they don't worry too much about the guy in the other lane.
Up around 6,000 horsepower there, 6,000 RPM right now, 3,000 horsepower, and away goes Roger Bateman, a 609. He is flying a 607. 234.49 miles an hour. You want to know something? He's only like 4 miles off his own track record, and running at night to boot. Boy, he was hooked up.
This is why he's a defending Division 6 champ.
All right, it would have been neat to see a side-by-side run for the final, but it's kind of neat because we can sort of focus everything on just one car, and we can watch no tire shake this time.
It's going to be interesting here because if you looked at his reaction time for Roger, he was a day late. He was sleeping.
Yeah, 6:09 is not good because the perfect light is in the force.
Which tells me, because he knows the situation's a single run, he's probably concentrated not on the light, but on the ET. And he got a super ET out of that car.
Well, here's the other half of the final. Remember, we got the problem in the left-hand lane with the oil down from Steve Sitko's top Alcohol Dragster when he boomed the motor. So, but that's okay. It's kind of neat where you get to see the single car run, John Evanchuk out of Edmonton. Okay, he was number 2 on the runway, I guess we can call it that, as far as ET during the first round of our match race eliminations here tonight at Labatt Raceway. So 6:07 is what John Evanchuk is going to try and beat.
Yes, and he knows he's got to beat that. That's the thing here.
That's right.
This is on his mind right now as Wayne Barber's backing him up here.
Good value. Nice t-shirt.
Crew member Owen backing him up, and Wayne just putting him where he wants him.
Yeah, again, we talked with Wayne earlier on in this broadcast.
Just last minute check here.
These cars are so computerized nowadays. Like they just they plug in the main. There's a main board on these cars. They get to tell you how hot each cylinder is running, and one's running lean, one's running too rich, and that it all comes down to tune-up in the end here.
Well, it makes it easier on the crew chief tuning up the car now. He has much better knowledge of what has happened on the last pass.
Beautiful race car.
As opposed to, just beautiful car that John and Ruth own here. This car is out of the States originally when John and Ruth bought it a few years back.
This car's been over in Japan, too. Yes. So it's a well-traveled race car, yes. So John Evanchuk hoping to beat 6:07. Can he do it?
I don't know, but I think the Wolf is going to howl tonight, Gord.
RPMs come up. John Evanchuk is away. Look at the reaction time of 4.78.
Super reaction.
About 150 miles an hour at half track at the finish line. Well, not quite. I think he slowed down. 643 ET, mile per hour, 188.32 miles an hour. Yes, indeed, he did slow down. He was about 150 miles an hour at half track. And we talked about tire bite, okay? Watch the sidewalls just crinkle.
Just wrinkles right up and lays that whole tire tread down. Well, actually, there's no tread. It's flat.
That's right.
Just lays it right down.
You can see the dew as formed on the racetrack. We were talking about that earlier. And also visibility can be a problem, too, as they just remove the blanket from the windshield of Glenn Whitehead's race car. This could be a bonus run. We decided, Glenn Whitehead... No, actually, he did so well. He was so close to making it into the final. But Glenn Whitehead's going to do a run for us right now, and we're going to cover it here on Shaw Motorsports Auto Trans Championship Drag Racing.
Getting back to John. John's got nothing to be ashamed of there, okay? I mean...
Not at all.
You put it on a ratio, the time that John's been doing this as opposed to how long Roger and Bob have been doing it, and John's doing quite well for himself, and... how to go there, John. Good run.
Do you ever remember the movie Fast Company back in 1978?
I'm not going to date myself that much.
Okay. Actually, there's a lot of members of the CCHRA, the Capital City Hot Rod Association, which, by the way, is celebrating their 40th anniversary this year. And a lot of them have cameo appearances in that movie from 1978, Fast Company. And this race car is sort of named after that movie.
That's right.
Fast Company Alcohol Funny Car, Glenn Whitehead, out of the province of Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I do remember that movie, Gord. You did have to bring it up, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Back in the old Speedway days. And yes, I was there, and I'm sure if you look hard enough, you'd see me in the background somewhere there. A little more hair on my head. A little shapier around the waist, maybe, but...
Well, Glenn Whitehead, the long haul from Grandeur, which is really just outside of Saskatoon, about 30 miles. And that's where he sets up tent and calls home. And he's probably very, very happy about being able to come out here to Labatt Raceway and show his stuff for the capacity crowd in attendance.
Yeah, that's true, Gord. I was up at the top end last year when he was just running the car, and it was starting to come on and run some good numbers for him. And he ran John Evans' truck, actually, that race. He lost, but he was just ecstatic. We almost had to haul him back down onto the ground.
Well, we had him on TV last year, and when we had our first ever drag race on Shaw Motorsports, he was in the final against John Evanchuk, indeed, and it was a close race.
It was.
You could have put a piece of paper between the two. It was that
That's
close to
right.
finish.
No, I remember that run, especially Glenn at the top end. He was just so happy.
Glenn White headed
wheel
away.
spin.
Yeah, a little bit of tire spin, but now, oh boy, he's picking up speed now. Look at him. A 684. The mile per hour is sure up there. 211.31 miles an hour. I think he lost his elapsed time when he
when the tires let loose,
a little bit, because you lose your ET if you lose traction. The mile per hour, you can make that up with horsepower.
Right. No,
but
that's true.
the elapsed time again. If you lose traction, well, your ET, your elapsed time is all out the window, and you just hope to have a stout enough motor so you can put up the big numbers in the mile per hour area. Replay. Glenn Whitehead heading down the racetrack towards our finish line, and I have to put a hand together for our crew here at Labatt Raceway. It's been a very busy day for them, and a lot of them have been here now going on, well, several hours now. And
right now it's maybe not that bad for them because it's cool, but boy, earlier on in the day,
it was a scorcher. All right, race fans. This is going to be the final pass of the night for our jet car competitors. This is why they call it Hot August Night. You betcha. It will light up the nighttime sky here as we get the afterburners fully lit. We've got Chuck Haynes taking on again his good buddy out of Billings, Montana area, Leland Blee, driving the pacifier. Chuck Haynes been driving. Wow, this was the first ever track that Chuck Haynes raced at. He told us that in the interview that you had with him at the start of our show here.
No, I remember him coming up, and he enjoys coming back here.
Yes, he does.
And such a super fellow to have back. I mean, you ever get a chance to, when he comes back up again, to go and talk to him, go talk to him. Really nice, pleasant guy.
Well,
just super.
It's funny how big his little company has grown, because it really is a company, Haynes Racing Enterprises.
Yeah.
He started out with one jet dragster, and then all of a sudden he had the finances to buy two, and then he's getting phone calls. He's going down to Australia for the third time now. He'll be down there in February of the year 2000. He's going to be actually down in Australia for almost a month and a half, racing from coast to coast. Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Willowbank. So he's looking forward to that. It's just amazing. He just started off on a whim. I want to go racing, and it's just grown to where he's so busy now, he almost has to turn tracks down.
So what are you doing in February, Gord? I think I know where I'm going to try and go and head.
Wouldn't that be neat? It's summer down there when we're freezing up here.
It's the middle of winter here.
You got it.
Oh,
you got it. Final pass. It's tied one apiece, actually, between Leland Blee and his boss in Gravity Storm, Chuck Haynes. And we'll see what happens here. Again, 300 miles an hour, okay? It's possible. Chuck Haynes laid down the pass, his last pass, only 10 miles off the actual track record. He ran about 279 miles an hour last pass. The current track record, 289.20 miles an hour. He would surely love to leave Labatt Raceway with a new track record in his name on the speed end of things. He already owns the ET, the elapsed time record, of a 5:52. Now, if you're wondering, okay, well, why are we running two cars in both lanes? Like, we didn't have the funny cars.
Okay.
We did the funny cars in only one lane. How come we're doing jet dragsters in both lanes now?
Here we get back to the thrust.
Yes.
And because of that, we can run the jet dragsters. That is an advantage with having the jet-powered vehicles out here.
There's no transmission in these things. It's purely thrust.
And
the rear tires aren't going to spin.
They'll be able to handle that little problem that's in that left-hand lane. With
a little greasy. It's a little greasy, but the jets should be able to handle that. We'll keep our fingers crossed, okay?
Oh, I've got no doubt they'll handle it, Gord.
Okay, well, that's good.
The tires and the wheels are there just to hold the vehicle basically off the ground.
And here is our in-cars camera shot again.
Go for it.
And we are firing Leland Blee's jet dragster. You can see the switch gets those turbines are rotating.
And here we go. Here's what the people came for.
Man, these camera shots are surprising even me here tonight.
The people are starting to get up and get off their hands, and they're standing, and they're just getting a stack because they know what's coming.
About 18,000 RPM. That's how fast those turbines are spinning in those jet engines. Again, these cars weigh about 1,400 pounds. Now you put about 11,000 horsepower on a 1,500-pound car.
Hey, look at this.
Oh,
unreal.
This is great. Cine Audio Visual, again, thank you guys for providing us with an in-car camera here tonight. Autotrans Championship Drag
Racing. Are they
Racing.
eating it up, or are they eating it up, Gord?
It's a great family event, the Snap-on Tools Hot August night. The entire family's enjoying the show because that's indeed what it is.
Yeah, the facility out here is just really a nice one to be at. And the nice thing about drag racing, there's no age restriction to coming in the pits and seeing the stars.
You get to see the cars up close. Talk to the drivers. Sometimes they will even let you sit in the race cars.
That's right. We're unfortunately over in the oval side because of the situation there, and that they have to put an age restriction on people getting in of 16 years old. But,
that's during the race. After the race, anyone's allowed in.
That's true.
Yeah,
after the
right.
race, anybody can come in and that.
Yeah.
But even during the race here on the drag strip side, you can go down the pits and see the cars that you like, talk to the drivers, and they love to talk to you.
Fire show is now over. Leland Blee, Chuck Haynes inching up to the start line. Again, 289.20 miles an hour. Chuck Haynes is going to try and set a new track record on this pass. He was close last pass, running 279. Does Gravity Storm have enough in it for a new track record? There's that in-car gap.
We're going for a ride, Gord.
Chuck Haynes cruising, 475 reaction time. I saw a couple of pops. 6 seconds flat, 264 even for the win. Blee runs a 628, 250.34 miles an hour. I saw a couple of flashes come out from behind Chuck Haynes' jet dragster. Yes. There may have been some misfiring going on.
I believe so, Gord. I'm sure something happened there because that wasn't a typical run for these two cars.
So that's too bad. I was hoping we were going to get a track record tonight, maybe 300 miles an hour. It'd been nice to have on Shaw Motorsports. Man, for the first ever jet car performance on television in Western Canada, and we have it here on Shaw Motorsports. Yeah. Here's the replay. You can see the afterburners fully lit as they head down the racetrack. Keep an eye on the flashes in the left-hand lane. There's one. Yeah, we got problems there. That's slowing him down. Boom, 2.
And yet he's still leading.
Yes, it's pure momentum right now. There's another flash. So yeah, and
something was happening.
See, the color of the flame even changed too near the end. So yeah, there were some problems with that race car, but still, what a run. Chuck Haynes, Leland Blee, up from Montana, and they definitely love coming to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and Labatt Raceway, and we hope to see them again here next a little bit. They're racing down in Australia, and boy, going down under where it's nice and cold here, hot temperatures down there, man. Good luck, guys, down there. Shaw Motorsports here in Edmonton. Well, this has been quite the monumental broadcast here at Labatt Raceway on Shaw Motorsports, Autotrans Championship Drag Racing, and Stan Ankers again. We've had the best seats in the house.
Yes, we have, Gord. But it's not over yet.
No.
Still got 2 more to go.
The newcomers, first time ever here at the track, and they're going to go home with some fine memories of all the race fans here at the facility, and of course knowing that their performance was shown on TV. We've already said, Gord, I hope you are going to send us a copy down to Spokane, Washington, and Van Nuys, California. Guess where these two drivers are from? Casey Jones in the Cannonball Express in the far lane from the Great Bear State.
Yes.
Van Nuys, California.
Just looking at the fans there, Gord.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just ecstatic. They've had a good night.
Yeah, you betcha they have. Best entertainment value for your money, you betcha.
Oh.
Look at the rubber. The rubber is glowing red from Casey Jones' afterburner. Look at that.
It's actually caught on fire.
Yes. Isn't that something? We've got Neil Hansen from Spokane, Washington, and brain damaged in the near lane. He ran very good that last pass. Remember he said he had problems with the first pass.
That's right.
Got the problems figured out. The car is around 250, 260 mile an hour car. Fire show's now complete for both drivers. Now going to inch up to the start line. Casey Jones impersonating the old locomotive there. Chug, chug, chug. God love it.
With that little bell. I love that bell, Gord.
Bill Wild. So they're going to inch up to the start line, and away they go. This is the final pass here on our broadcast
Of one hot August night.
Let's listen in. Casey Jones in the fours for reaction time of 4:99 on fire down the track, and he runs a 6:55, 247.66 miles an hour for the win. Neil Hansen running a good run too in the sixes at over 230 miles an hour. And what a run by those pair. We're going to take a look at the replay. Watch the smoke get sucked into the intake of the Cannonball Express there of Casey Jones. Both drivers flying down the track. They are safe at the top end of the racetrack now.